name is Daniel James. I'm a student in CIT and I study web development. I love sport and playing with PlayStation. I started playing with Nemo Rangers when I was 4 years of age. Kind of played hurling up until I was about 10 years of age, and then gave it up because I couldn't really stand it. Getting hit in the shins and hurting my thumbs and all that stuff, I couldn't really stand. But football was kind of my main sport since I was about 4 years of age, as I said, and had to give that up last year, unfortunately. What stopped me from playing GAA was a cardiac arrest. I was playing a match away, came on with about 20 minutes to go, and got a point for Nemo, which oddly enough turned out to be my last point I'll ever get for Nemo. But came off the pitch, done my warm-up with the lads, down normal as usual, like we were all having a laugh, chatting away. I felt fine. Well, I kind of remember feeling a small bit lightheaded, kind of sick in my stomach, kind of thing. But it was kind of like butterflies, kind of a feeling. But it wasn't something that I never felt before, or something that kind of scared me or anything. So I went on anyway, just done our warm up, and then when I came into the dressing room, from this point, I don't really remember, but I was filled in a lot in the last year about what actually happened.
Basically, I was actually getting Daniel's brother in Collins Clintons, and I actually came down to Nemo Rangers, and from what I've seen, there was an ambulance had actually arrived to take Daniel out of the dressing room. He had got a cardiac arrest, and they already had done defibrillation, and there was, I suppose, a lot of people in the dressing room at the time, I suppose a bit stressed, and then they actually removed Daniel to the ambulance and took Daniel to the Cork University Hospital. There was nothing wrong with him, or there was no ill health or whatever as such. And on the night, he was actually excellent. He was in good form, top form, raring to go.
And what happened when I came into the dressing room was I fell over. From obviously I was started to have the cardiac arrest, and I fell over and I smashed my head off the floor, and got a massive gash along the corner of my forehead, and started bleeding instantly. And everybody kind of looked at me on the floor and was staring at me, thinking, "Oh God, what is fucking Eid? You know what's he after doing? He's after falling over, like tripped on the doorstep or something like that." And I fell at Mihal, the two guys on my soccer team's feet, a guy called Mihal and a guy called Barry. And they were I was speaking to them afterwards, and they said that they were just looking at me like they didn't know what was going on. And they were like, one of my coaches was like, "Come on, Dan, get up. Will you have a cop on?" kind of thing. And then they realised that something was actually wrong, because they turned me over and my face was purple, and they realised that I wasn't breathing. So my aunt came in and they called people. Everyone kind of was in a panic of what was going on. So they ran into the other dressing room, the Bishopstown dressing room, and kind of what I heard anyway was a kind of like, is there a doctor in the house kind of thing.
I was in the dressing room packing up to go home when one of the Nemo coaches ran into the dressing room saying that a fella had collapsed in the change room, and the Nemo doctor, he had already left. So I just presumed dehydrated after the match, go in with a bottle of water, packet of fruit pastilles, it'd be grand. So I went in, and Daniel collapsed just inside the door. So I got down, tried to feel for radial pulse to his wrist, couldn't feel anything. The whole time his back had kind of been to me, so I hadn't seen his face. And it was only then, as I glanced over his shoulder, saw that there was a expressionist, unresponsive, blue-faced 18-year-old staring back at me. So immediately I knew I had to start CPR. So turned him over onto his back and just kind of announced what I was about to do. And Tony Nation, one of the Nemo coaches, gave me a hand, and one of the other Nemo coaches as well. So I just talked them through how to administer the breaths while I did the compressions, and then just asked the coaches if someone could ring an ambulance and get the defibrillator as well. So after about kind of 5 minutes, I'd say, the defibrillator arrived and just cut off Daniel's jersey and got the pads on, and just let the machine do its work then, analyse the heart rhythm, gave him a shock, but still nothing was happening. So after about 10 or 12 minutes of doing the CPR, and I think it was like the third shock or something, Daniel came back around. Now initially was fairly worried that a bit of damage had been done, like he couldn't see anything when he woke up initially, he wasn't really following commands or able to move limbs on command. So I thought he might have got a hypoxic brain injury or something like that.
I came back from the shocks from the defibrillator, brought me back, and I woke up, and I can kind of remember this. I kind of woke up and I was looking at the sky, saying, "Oh, I can't move. I can't feel my neck. Like I can't feel my legs. I can't move at all." And they were telling me to calm down. You know, it's okay, all this kind of stuff. And then I blacked out again, and my heart stopped again for roughly about another 3.5 minutes. So technically, I died twice, kind of thing. Like, and for 7 minutes overall. And in the meantime, anyway, when they were doing the compressions and things like that to keep me awake and to working with the defibrillator and stuff, that lasted for a very long time, about 25-30 minutes, I was told.
So then the ambulance probably arrived at about 20-25 minutes and did their thing, brought him to the hospital.
And I don't really remember much other than waking up a small bit in the ambulance and constantly reiterating the same question over and over again. Did we win the match? What was the score? Did I play well? These kind of things. My mom was sitting next to me telling me, "Oh, you played very well, you scored."
He had an aberrant RCA, which is basically a little vessel, and the heart was on the wrong side and got squished between his pulmonary artery and aorta. So we underwent a coronary artery bypass graft for that.
2 major arteries in my heart were, there was a vein going straight through the middle of them, and over the last 18 years it was being squeezed by the 2 major arteries when I was getting an adrenaline rush and things like that. So the blood couldn't pump through fast enough, and kind of my blood went haywire in my heart and caused cardiac arrest, because over the last 18 years from the constant adrenaline rush with sport and with things like that, I got scarring at the bottom of my heart, like then one of the sides of my heart there was a scarring over the last 18 years, and the vessel that was stuck between the 2 major arteries was meant to be on the, with normal people now, the vessel is on the opposite side of the heart, but with the defect that I had from birth, it's not genetically or genetic or anything like that. It's just happened to me, but it was on the opposite side of the heart compared to where it was meant to be.
When I got to the hospital, we actually went into the emergency ward. Again, I must give great credit to the staff there. They were absolutely outstanding. So they checked him out or whatever, and he was brought into the ward, and I suppose he was put under recovery.
So when I woke up the next day anyway in the hospital, that was kind of the beginning of a very hard 3 weeks of tests and needles and all this kind of stuff. Like, there was nearly every single test I've ever known was done to me. I had everything done, the ECGs, I had all the x-rays and the chest scans, my brain scans, and they were really surprised that I didn't have any ribs broken from the amount of compressions done on me, and they were incredibly surprised I didn't have a fracture in my skull or any brain damage whatsoever, because the blood was obviously cut off from my brain when my heart stopped. So they didn't understand how I didn't have any brain damage or skull damage from smashing my head off the floor and things like that. I had my mindset the whole night before of getting a metal object basically put into my chest for the rest of my life, dealing with a metal object. And my doctor came in and said, "We've good news, we've bad news." And I said, "What's the good news?" Like, he said, "The good news is you don't have to get a metal object put into your heart." I said, "What's the bad news?" And he said, "You have to have open heart surgery and have a coronary bypass." And I said, "Why?" And he told me that we're going to have to bypass the vein that's stuck between your pulmonary artery and your aorta. It's 6 months recovery, no driving, no working, no running, no doing nothing. I kind of had a lot of physiotherapy to get me back into it. Started off when I got out of bed in the hospital, I could only walk 10 feet, like, had to get back into bed then. And then the next day then, it was a fella from Nemo was my physiotherapist, like, and he was telling me, it was Peter Morgan, and he was telling me that I could only walk 10 feet a day, like, and things like that, but I was determined not to be bed bound, like, and I'd get killed for it, like, but I'd get up and walk 30 feet a day. And he was telling me that not to walk up and down stairs, like, but then he'd catch me out the back walking up and down stairs, like, and doing all this kind of stuff that I wasn't meant to be doing. Like, when I came out of hospital, I wasn't meant to be working and all this stuff, and I kind of forced myself to do a bit of work myself, like, because I just couldn't stand still. Like, it was really hard to go from playing football every single day to sitting on my ass every single day, like, so it was tough that way, but it was fine after that then.
From what I hear, he's made a great recovery from that. I met him the day after, so he's a bit sore, all right, but all reports so far seems to be he's in great form and doing really well, thank God. The big thing is the importance of the defibrillator. Like a patient's chance of survival reduced at a rate of like 7 to 10% with each minute of cardiac arrest. And then if a patient's defibrillated within 5 minutes, their chance of survival is approximately 50%, can be higher with younger people. And then if 10 minutes or more pass, survival rate approaches kind of about 0% without CPR and 10 to 20% with CPR. So like those figures show you just how lucky Daniel was, and the fact that if there wasn't a defibrillator there, you can probably say with decent amount of certainty that the outcome wouldn't have been good for Daniel. But thank God there was one. Like, so it's just like nationally, GA clubs, soccer clubs, rugby clubs, like there has to be a defibrillator. Cost shouldn't be an issue. Like you can't put a cost on life. And for Daniel, that was kind of what saved his life.
I think that most places should definitely have defibrillators, like schools and colleges and things like that, where people will go on a daily basis and will spend a lot of time. Even in towns and cities, on corners, they should have defibrillators just ready. There should be points where people would know where there's a defibrillator. Like next to a river, there's always a buoy. I think in a city there should be a defibrillator at a corner and a phone next to it for someone to ring if anything happens, because you really never know when you're going to need one. The biggest thing overall, people would say, oh, you're alive, you're able to think you have a second chance of life, you can do anything, like. But mainly the thing that I hate the most is that I can't play football again. I can't go back playing with the people who I love playing with, my best friends, coming down to Nemo. I like to stay positive about it. I like to keep going. Like I don't think that should get me down at all.
As I said, the most important thing for him is that he's alive. He's out there kicking, and bit by bit he's beginning to get back on his feet.
I really like to put it on video, like, and on camera, how much I would love to thank everybody who helped me through the last year. Like the amount of people is insane. All my friends, my family, Nuala Murphy, Corona Shaughnessy, all my coaches, Harry Mihal, Tony Nation, Paul, Aidan Horgan, everyone, like Conal Murphy, the doctor, everyone who was there. I would love to thank them. The people in the CUH, most definitely the biggest thanks to them. They were amazing. They kept me in complete comfort. Every single day they'd come up to me and they'd ask me how I'm getting on, even though I was there for 3 weeks, and they put me into an isolated room, and because I was obviously with a lot of old people who I didn't really want to be next to for 3 weeks that I was going to be staying there, like, so they put me into a room, they made me comfortable, they came up, chatted away to me. Oddly enough, someone who was in my class at the time, her mum was one of my nurses, and she was always talking to me and telling me how they're getting on in college and things like that, and keeping me updated. Then when I came out, I was brought straight back to Nemo Rangers, and like the day they won the city championship, we were playing in the quarterfinal when it happened. They went on to win the city championship, and they came up to the hospital with me and things like that with the cup, and it was just amazing to see how much people actually cared, and it really meant a lot to me when I came back to Nemo, and everyone in the club would shake my hand and say welcome back and all these things. And my coach rang me recently enough to talk to me about coaching avenues and things like that I could go into, and I definitely love to go into things like that. So just a big thanks to everyone who helped me, and obviously I'm probably forgetting a lot of people, and I just love to thank all of them. Everyone who helped me a lot. It's just absolutely amazing.